Hi everyone, it's Persephone here. Welcome back to my channel. I'm very excited today to be bringing you my very first tarot video back from my very long hiatus. I was going to do more of like a reintroduction to where I am now in my tarot practice and what it means to me and blah, blah, blah. Boring anyway. So I watched a video the other day from Julie at Peekaboo Rose, and I decided I wanted to do a VR instead. Now, she got this from Imogen at Sapling Tarot, and I will link both of their videos in the description. This is a VR too on having a tarot deck collection. I feel like this is going to explain a lot about where I am now and where I've come from and, what's going on. Anyway, there's, I don't know, like 13 questions or something. So we're going to go through it. It's about my deck collection. Yes, it is a tarot video, not a bookish video, but this was the best I could do for today because my house is being rearranged right now. So okay, so we're talking about my tarot deck collection. And the first question is, how long have you been collecting decks? And I bought my first deck about 25 years ago. And I didn't know what I was doing. And I didn't really read seriously for a long time after that. I didn't collect or acquire very many decks for quite a while. I would say I began collecting in earnest maybe 10 to 12 years ago when I started watching TarotTube and I started getting really serious about, okay, I really want to learn how to read tarot. And I just started falling in love with all these decks I was seeing, and I didn't set out to be a collector. I just sort of got obsessed. So same thing with books. This is not my only bookshelf. I get a little obsessive with things. So yeah, so I've been collecting for quite a while. I don't think this is a question, but I probably have about 130-ish decks at this point. So that's where it stands. And then the next question is, what kind of collection do you have? And I would say the best descriptor of my deck collection would be that it's eclectic. I have mass market decks. I have indie decks. I have old decks. I have new decks. I have illustrated and photographs and colorful and black and white and all over the place. Now, I would I'll get to some flesh that out a little bit more and more questions coming. So yeah, I would say eclectic, and sadly, I would also call it neglected because I really walked away from tarot a few years ago. I had my channel. I was reading professionally for a few years. I had a good client base. Everything was great. And then, and some of you know, if you started watching my channel back in the day, that I was a minister. I went to seminary. I was an interfaith, interspiritual minister, not afraid of the woo. And things started shifting for me. And all of a sudden, one day, I just went, I don't believe in any of this. I don't believe in anything. I don't believe there is anything. I'm an atheist. And that's honestly where I still stand. I have made peace with a good enough explanation for how tarot works, but I have come to a place in my life where I don't need to have an explanation for everything. So ultimately, I would say I don't know how it works. I just know that when I do it, it does. So that's why my deck collection has been very neglected. I only came back to it. I don't know how long. I'll tell you. At this age, I lose track of time. But it's been a little while. I decided I didn't get rid of my decks when I was going through the heart of that walk away kind of stuff I was going through, because I was like, this could change for me. I could want to come back to it. And I did want to come back to it. And so I still have it. I haven't spent enough time with it. Now it feels a little bit overwhelming, this big collection that I have. So I'm just I'm just getting back into it. And I have a different orientation toward it now in the decks that I work with and all that kind of stuff. So eclectic and neglected. That was a very long explanation, but I'm really planning to get back to working with a lot of the decks in my collection in the coming year. So the third question is, are you a completionist? So this would be, if I buy something in a series, do I have to buy the rest of the series? And I would say with some things I'm like that. With books by certain authors, I'm like that. But I don't think I'm like that with tarot or anything deck related. I don't think that really applies to me. And then she asks, how do you store or organize your collection? And it's a hot mess right now, which is why we're filming in front of books instead of tarot decks. I have a stack of tarot decks that live, well, I have a couple. I have a basket of decks in my living room. I have a shelf in my living room that has several decks on it. And then the rest of my collection lives on a bookshelf in a back room. And at some point, I'll share a video of that once I get it cleaned up and everything. I plan to dust and organize and re-familiarize myself with my collection. Because I'm not even sure of all the decks that I have. So, like the other day, I was looking through it and I was surprised to see some of the decks that I have because I had walked away from it for so long. Okay. What's your favorite thing about your collection? My favorite thing is that I may want new decks and I may occasionally get new decks, but I don't need any new decks. I have a deck for every vibe I could want. And I brought out a couple of examples just for fun. I thought this would be, who wants just talking in a tarot video? We want to see decks. So as an example of two wildly different decks with different vibes. So how about this zombie tarot? Who among you has the zombie tarot? So this one is, it's zombies. So obviously it's dark, but it's not like horror dark. It's like cheeky dark. It's super, I would say it's dark and cheeky. It doesn't take itself too seriously, but it's fantastic. I've gotten surprisingly good readings. I love this. Oh, who among us is old enough to remember these cigarette machines? They just had them. My stepdad was like really into bowling when I was a kid, and we would go to the bowling alley and you could just stick some money in a machine and it would pop out, pull a little button and your cigarettes would pop out. So anyway, the devil. Yes. Love that. And then in stark contrast to the zombie tarot, I wanted to show you the Art of Love tarot. So this one is the artwork of Tony Carmine Salerno. You might be familiar. A lot of Oracle decks have used this artist's work, but this deck, I mean, it's very sweet. It's the opposite of the zombie tarot. Like, it is not dark, it is light. It is love and light and woo woo and all those things. So it's, you know, and the guidebook is it's very spiritual. So this is an example of the exact opposite. So just to show you that my collection has such a wide range. I don't have one type or style of artwork or vibe that I go for or anything like that. Yeah, so I have every vibe I could possibly need contained within my collection already. Okay, what's my least favorite thing or something I'd improve about my collection? I don't have a least favorite thing. Not that I can think of. I mean, there may be too many decks that I probably won't return to, but I don't know for sure because things change from day to day, week to week, month to month, year to year. I don't know what I'm going to be into next year or what vibe is going to suit what I'm looking for next month. So I guess there's really nothing that I don't like about my collection. And then what's the biggest category of my collection? So I would say if we're just talking general decks, my biggest category is tarot. If we're talking within tarot, we break that down, definitely Rider-Waite-Smith. I have a few Marseille, maybe one or two Thoth, but really I use the Rider-Waite-Smith system. And then what's the smallest category of my collection? Within tarot, I would say it would be the Thoth system. I might have one or two decks that I accidentally got that were kind of Thoth modeled decks, but that would be it. And then kind of more broadly with cards, I would say Lenormand is maybe the smallest, or General Oracle. I don't really use General Oracle cards that much, really, at all anymore. Sometimes I use them with my yoga classes. But yeah, so those are the smallest. Ah, yes. And then the big question, do you have a holy grail in your collection? Now, I wanted to be specific about this. So I just Googled what a holy grail item is in a collection is. So, and I was told that a holy grail item in a collection is a highly rare, elusive, and personally significant piece that a collector desperately seeks to complete their set, often representing the ultimate acquisition due to its scarcity, unique story, or extreme desirability, making it aspirational and difficult to obtain. It's the object of obsession that collectors will spend significant time, money, or effort to find, even if it seems nearly impossible. So I have three Holy Grail decks, which is pretty special, I think. Let's see here. So the first one I wanted to share with you is my first edition Solera Occulto Tarot. This nice big box. Look at that. So I had seen some videos with, I think, the second edition of this deck, maybe. And I saw videos and pictures with the second edition, and I really wanted the first edition, but it was out of print. It was done. No more. I searched the outer reaches of the internet, and I found a shop. I think it was in Pennsylvania. This was several years ago, so I don't remember all the details. They had one copy, and that was it. and they sent it to me. So this, I kind of got a little obsessed with finding a first edition, and I found one. And if I remember correctly, it was because of the color of the border that I wanted my deck to have this color border. And have I read with it a lot? No, a little bit, sure, but you know, that's how it goes when you get obsessed and collect decks. You can't possibly read with them all the time. So that is one Holy Grail deck. And then let's see, my second one out of 3, I have the first edition, the OG indie deck of the Light Seers Tarot. This makes me real happy. It's number 1900 out of 2500 with a little initial by Chris Ann at the bottom. This deck, if you know, you know. We desperately wanted this deck, and it's absolutely stunning. Now, I have and use the mass market. I don't know if I would use the indie one because it's so precious to me. I do highly prefer the original 10 of Swords in this deck that got changed in the mass market deck. But how often does that come up? It's not a deal breaker or anything. So yeah, this is it has both of the 10 of Swords, by the way. This is my second Holy Grail tarot deck. Now, the third, and this one, really, if you know, you know. We waited, some of us patiently, some of us not so patiently. This deck was a labor of love by the creators. It was a thing. It was a real thing, guys. And I have the first edition Bone Stone and Earth Flesh Tarot. Okay. Now, not only is this deck precious to me just for being the deck that it was, or that it is, but I actually, let's see if I can find it. Well, if you have the book, or if you have this deck, my name is in it. My name is in the book. I was one of the people who helped kind of edit and proofread the book. So yeah, somewhere in here is my name in all of that, which is so exciting. I mean, who has that? So anyway, I don't know where it is. I can't find it now. I haven't looked at it in ages. And it's, so this deck is also, I mean, Anna Torian's art is just stunning, beautiful. The deck is, let's see. There's another one. I love that one. It's got this red gilding on the edges. Beautiful. Yeah, it's stunning. It's a Holy Grail for sure. Now that the second edition mass market is out, though, I will probably get that, and that's what I will use. Like, that's the thing about a true Holy Grail deck, at least for me, is that it's gonna sit still and look pretty. That's what it's gonna do. It's not gonna do much else. So I do need to order the second edition so that I can actually start to use this deck. So yeah, those are my holy grails. And then the next question is, do you ever wish your collection was bigger, smaller, or is it complete? It does feel very complete. There are some other decks that I want. There's one in particular that's been sitting in my Amazon cart for several weeks that I am so close to. I'm like, but I'm so particular now. I used to not know what I like to read with. And so I would just buy. But now there's a feeling I have to get when I see a deck. I have to sit with videos that go through all the cards, make sure there are no deal breaker cards in the deck, things like that. And yeah, so I just don't acquire decks at the rate at which I used to, like not even close. So do I wish my collection was bigger? Not really. Smaller, it could be, but it feels complete. I would be happy with less, but I don't need more. So I would say it feels complete. But I had a lot of FOMO back in the day. I don't really have that anymore. I don't have a lot of attachments to things the way I used to. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm a human, but FOMO doesn't grab me as much as it used to. It really used to. Okay. How often do you declutter your collection? Never. I do not declutter. I am not a declutterer in general. I'm a little bit of a pack rat. I'm a little bit of a collector. It's hard for me to declutter. I've been working on decluttering other things in my house. Boxes and tubs of things that I've collected for years and years that I never use. Tarot, no, because often if I've gifted a deck or the rare occasion I've sold or swapped or whatever, I always regret it. So no, I don't declutter. I may occasionally gift something. Now that I know myself and my reading style a little bit better, I might do a little bit more culling in the future, but not likely to do a big declutter. So, do I ever get envious seeing other people's collections? Nope, not at all, because my collection is what I have carefully curated over the years, or not so carefully curated, but it's everything that I wanted. I'm happy for people if they have the collection that they want. But I don't get envious, no. Who on YouTube has the best collection videos? I'm not touching that one. I love watching everyone's collection videos. I love anyone who shares their collection, big or small. If you have 2 decks, if you have 200 decks, I love seeing that. I love seeing what you love. And that's what I especially like, when somebody just loves their collection and the decks in it. Okay, so I think we're at the final question. What's some advice you'd give to a future or brand new deck collector? I would say first, know thyself. And if you don't, go slow. Because I acquired a lot of decks at the beginning that were just, they didn't end up resonating with me, and they were kind of duds. But I mean, I guess you don't really know that until you start. That's why I say go slow. Don't put yourself in debt over this. I would say research the decks. Know what your deal breakers are. For example, I am vegan, and I almost bought a deck that had a hunter for the Hierophant. Do you know how much that does not work for me? And I had actually purchased the deck on Etsy, and then I saw in a video, and I was like, no. And I contacted them like right away. I was like, I'm sorry, can I cancel this order? And they were super gracious about it. but I didn't do my due diligence and my research ahead of time. So now before I get a deck, I look at a couple of walkthroughs and I make sure that there are no deal breaker cards like that there are no cards that are like cringy or whatever to me. Also, a big thing for me, a deal breaker is swapped suits. Every once in a while, you'll see the swords and the wands, their elemental associations flipped, and no, that's a deal breaker for me. No. At the same time, I would say another piece of advice is don't be scared to push yourself out of your comfort zone a little bit. And you have to decide what that means to you. Maybe try out a Thoth, a Marseille, get a couple of books, see what you think. Something like that. Try artwork that's a little bit out there for you, but you like the artwork. It's okay to push yourself out of your comfort zone a little bit. Know why you're collecting. Are you collecting for the beauty of it? Are you collecting to study? Are you collecting because you want to work with clients and read for clients, every day? Know what your purpose is in collecting decks. And that's going to help you figure out what you really want to have in your collection. Don't be afraid of imagery that's a little bit different because it can open up profound insights into the meaning of the cards. And you start to see them in different ways. An example I have I wanted to show you 3 cards that I really like that are strength cards that all have different depictions of strength. So this is from This Might Hurt Tarot. This one's very traditional, right? It's very similar to the OG Rider-Waite-Smith card with the woman and the lion. So this is a very traditional take on the strength card. But then we have the Good Karma Tarot, which still has the lion and the woman. But we see instead of her taming the beast, she has etched the beast onto her back as a tattoo. I mean, what is the difference there? What do you see when you look at the difference between those 2 cards? Maybe nothing, but maybe something. I think, this is more of, taming that beast. Well, this is more, you get the sense of courage and resilience with the strength card. And then the third one I picked is Strength from the Lightseers Tarot, where you actually see the lion is part of the woman. And that's often how people read the Strength card. But that's very different from seeing the image of the lion externally, as opposed to seeing the beast within and seeing that marriage of the different parts of the person and the gentleness with the lamb there, the gentleness of the strength rather than brute force. So those are just some examples of how having different cards with radically different images, I mean, they're not radically different, but they each say something a little bit different, and how that can open up your understanding of a card. Also, don't be afraid to add to your collection just for the guidebook. Different language around the cards and different ways of interpreting can help us find what works for us. And so I mean, I've been known to get a deck just because I'm like, oh, I see little bits and pieces of that guidebook and I'm like, I want that. That looks like it's going to have some different things and it's going to have a different twist on it. Sometimes just a different word or phrase can open up your understanding of a card in such a different way. So I think that's all I have for this VR and for this video, my first tarot video. as I'm back on YouTube. So I would love for you to tag me if you find this video. I mean, it's not really, wasn't really made into a tag, but if you decide to make a VR, let me know. I would love to see it. And I think that's it, guys. So just so you know, Mondays are going to be my planner video days. First and third Thursdays, you can find tarot content. First and third Thursdays, at least for now. We'll see. This could change. Second and fourth Fridays will be bookish content, which I'm excited to get into. I just finished a book this morning, and it was so amazing. And then whenever there's like a fifth Thursday, I'm going to go live. We'll see how that goes. I've never done that before on YouTube. So anyway, so nice to be here with you. I hope to see you again soon. Take care and ciao.